Hello everyone, welcome to Viral Buzz News, your go-to source for up-to-date information. Today we bring you breaking news that is shaking Israel and the entire world. We're going to discuss a historic and highly controversial decision made by the Israeli Supreme Court. So, without further ado, let's get started. The Israeli Supreme Court has ruled that the military must begin drafting ultra-Orthodox men, a group that has been exempt from mandatory service for decades. This decision could have enormous repercussions for the country and its government. To give you some context, for many years, ultra-Orthodox men in Israel have been exempt from mandatory military service. This exemption dates back to the founding of the State of Israel in 1948, when it applied to about 400 people to protect religious scholars after the Holocaust. However, over time the ultra-Orthodox population has grown significantly and now represents about a quarter of the men of draft age. The Supreme Court's decision comes amid intense public opposition, especially following the Hamas-led attacks on Israel last year and the prolonged war in Gaza that has strained the country's military resources. The court declared that the religious exemption violated equal protection laws and that the state was carrying out an invalid selective application, which represents a severe violation of the rule of law. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces a new challenge. The possibility of eroding support within his fragile coalition is real, as two politically powerful ultra-Orthodox parties strongly oppose drafting their constituents. If these parties leave the coalition, Netanyahu's government could collapse, triggering new elections. The ultra-Orthodox military exemption has been a contentious issue for years. In Israel, where military service is mandatory, ultra-Orthodox families have an average of 6 or 7 children, making this community the fastest-growing segment of the country's population. This growth has led many to question the sustainability of the exemption. Many argue that the exemption is a drag on the economy and an increasing financial burden on the rest of the population. Additionally, ultra-Orthodox political power has grown alongside their population and has been crucial to Netanyahu's coalition. For ultra-Orthodox leaders, the struggle is existential. The word Haredi means someone who trembles before God. They reject engagement with the modern world and fear that exposing young people to it through the military will end their way of life. The recent Hamas attack and Israel's military response have intensified opposition to the exemption. Since the surprise Hamas attack on October 7, which killed 1,200 people in Israel, the country has been fighting on 3 fronts. A tough military campaign in Gaza that has killed over 37,600 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry. Intensified battles in the West Bank, and mutual attacks along its northern border with the Hezbollah group, backed by Iran. To support all of this, the Israeli military has called up hundreds of thousands of reservists, drafted others early, and pushed for longer rotations. The people serving now will have to do 2 or 3 times more. That's crazy. It won't happen, says Ron Scherf, co-founder of Brothers and Sisters in Arms. This reservist group has held regular protests calling for an end to the broad ultra-Orthodox exemption. Polls have shown overwhelming support for the group's position, with over 70% of Jewish respondents in Israel saying changes to the exemption were needed. A government minister willing to send my son to death while his son does nothing, says Scherf. Who can understand that? However, ultra-Orthodox soldiers face significant social stigma. A couple of thousand ultra-Orthodox people voluntarily enlisted in the military after the Hamas attack. Among them was Mordecai Porat, a 36-year-old social worker from Bnei Brak, a center of ultra-Orthodox life. For other ultra-Orthodox, the social cost of joining the Israeli army can be even higher. Going to the army will hurt their marriage prospects, says Nachumi Yaffe of Tel Aviv University, who is also ultra-Orthodox. It will harm their family relationships. She believes it will be good for the community to normalize as more people are drafted. But she thinks Israelis don't understand how challenging that process can be for young men who have been socially isolated, with little to no education about human rights. I think Israeli society should ask itself, do they want to see them in the army? She says. You know, Israelis want to see blood. They want to see them in uniform, shooting. I don't think that's a great idea. Yafa believes it would make more sense to gradually incorporate them, starting some as truck drivers or cooks, while they adapt to a secular world. Porat, who joined voluntarily, believes most Haredim would prefer going to jail over enlisting. But after the Hamas attacks, polls showed greater community support for soldiers, and Porat thinks that over time, more people will be open to the idea. Still, he warns that a slow approach is best. If people are forced to do it, he says, they will just push back. This Supreme Court ruling represents a turning point for Israel. The implementation of this decision will be closely watched both nationally and internationally. Will it be possible to integrate the ultra-Orthodox into the military without further fracturing Israeli society? Only time will tell. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and ring the bell for more Viral Buzz news. See you in the next video.